Hey, I'm Dan Vaughn. Welcome to TPS, the Protagonist Show. Joined as always by my faithful co-host, the one and only Mr. Joshua Duder. Welcome to the show, Josh. How are you doing tonight?
What's up, Dan Vaughn? I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Just got done recording a different show. Still in that headspace, trying to. I'll get here. It is what it is. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
I know you do the same thing, so it's not. We're not doing anything. I'm not.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's not a contest. You're just saying how your day went.
Indeed. Yeah, I talked about horrible things in the podcast. It was not received well, and everyone told me I was gross. Cool. Anyway, excellent. Well, we've got 3 topics to talk about. We'll talk about some matches that we're looking forward to. We'll go off topic a little bit. There's all kinds of stuff that we're going to cover here. It's going to be a quick 20, 25, maybe 30-minute time spent with us hanging out. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. If you're watching or listen to us on our Protagonist podcast feed, welcome there. And of course, you're always welcome to double dip. If you like, try them out. If you want to take a look at this ugly mug that's talking to you, you can do that. Joshua Duder looks pretty good. Always has a sweet hat on. Always looking good. We always try to suit up, wear something interesting. I've got Dortmund today. Oh, is that Lane United?
It is.
Oh,
Is
there bad news about them?
Bad but good. It's almost kind of like it's a chrysalis. They've gone into a hibernation, and when they come out, they're no longer going to be League Two. They're going to be a League One team, and what they're
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, that's not bad news.
If you take a look behind me, my scarf selection today is entirely teams that have come and gone, or have if they've not disappeared entirely off the face of the earth. I don't know where they went.
There you go. You know what? We could do. Oh no, I did the wrong thing. See, trying to do this. Look,
There you go.
You get more view for if
Yeah.
you're looking on if you're looking at the Protagonist Soccer YouTube channel. There you can see that Josh Duder's his scarf wall is impressive. It's a nice one, and he's also got art up there. There's all kinds of stuff happening up there.
Yeah, there we go. I try to keep it interesting for everybody.
Looking very good. Well, we had some interesting soccer matches this weekend, and to me, the story of the weekend was the amateur game on display. We had 2 of the largest amateur soccer leagues wrapping up with their championship finales, and both delivered, if you ask me, and they were both a contrast of where these leagues are, also about where these teams are. I think also there's tons of hope and promise about really all the teams involved. There's just a lot of really cool stuff. I know that I saw David Goss was talking about his coverage of the USL League 2 final, and he did do the call. If you don't know him, he's a big MLS guy. It seems like a genuinely nice person.
Yeah.
Did a really good job calling the USL League 2 final, and was just talking about how much he enjoyed it. And there was this part of me, the gatekeeping part of me was like, oh, now you're here. Now you want to talk about amateur soccer. Now you want to talk about it when there's, 6,000-7,000 fans out there. Then now it's interesting to you. But we got to turn that part of us off. Welcome to the big tent. There's a place for all of us here. If you just got here, if you've been here for 10 years, you've been here for 20 years, amateur soccer is alive and well, and it's growing. And I want to start off with talking about the NPSL final. NPSL final took place in Kazar Stadium. Joshua Duder has talked about the stadium for as long as I've known him. Always wants Kazar. Okay, I said it wrong. See, there you go. See, look, Josh just corrected me. He's a Bay Area native. He knows how to say that right. I don't. But took place in San Francisco. El Federalito, who are the darlings of amateur soccer, always shine in the U.S. Open Cup. We love them. They were the Protagonist Soccer Club of the Year in 2024. They're good people, genuinely good people, and we're hosting for the first time a final. They've won the NPSL before, and they've obviously won some big trophies over the course of their lifetime, but they were hosting Hickory FC, which, if you don't know, you wouldn't be surprised to not know. They're only 2 years old. They are out of Hickory, North Carolina. They are part of the Michael Hitchcock portfolio. Michael Hitchcock is, don't get me wrong, he's a co-owner. He's not the primary. Right. He always takes a chunk for himself and helps set this up. But if you don't know anything about Michael Hitchcock, long history in professional and amateur soccer in the United States, and knows a lot. And he is his work has created these massive amateur clubs, and they follow this formula of tapping into local markets,
Mhm.
connecting with local fans, putting good product on the field, and then just killing it and crushing it. And Hickory FC is part of that. Annapolis is part of that. Laredo is part of that. There's the list really. Appalachian was it Appalachian FC also
Yeah.
part of that. There is a list of clubs as long as your arm that Michael Hitchcock and his group have put
Mhm.
together, and they do it right. And Hickory is no exception. In 2 years, this year they were drawing. I saw that at their final home match, they drew just under 4,000 fans, and over the course of the season, drew almost 40,000 fans to their match at home. So they are connecting with their local community and now doing it on the field as well. And so they came into town to take on El Foro. And unfortunately for El Farolito, again, we root for them all the time. It was not to be. Hickory scored first in the first half. Farolito got back, scored another one to come back. Then Hickory scored another one, and then Foro was just banging, trying to get that tying goal. Ended up giving up giving up the ball, and then Hickory scored another goal to go up 3-1.
Mm.
El Farolito got one more at the death, but it wasn't enough, and unfortunately falls in this final. I know that a lot has been made about the exit of so many really big clubs from the NPSL. You think about the Little Rocks, MPLS City, that have just sort of hollowed out parts of this league that used to be the flagship when it came to amateur soccer
Yeah.
in the United States. But the reality is there's still a lot of really good teams here, and there's a lot of talent that continues to thrive in the NPSL. Maybe, for better or for worse what the leadership is concerned. But the reality is that how individual clubs operate is not always indicative of the health of the league, and they can stand out in their own ways. And again, speaking of Hickory, obviously Hickory is one of those clubs that's standing out. And El Farolito has been, Mr. Consistent, just always been competitive, always been great, playing out of the Bay Area, and just sort of always carrying the flag for amateur soccer. So it's kind of interesting how this final kind of turned out. While the result was a battle between two really good clubs that took it to the finish line, it's also the sign of that new clubs are also emerging, but old clubs are still carrying the flag here. There's players on all of these teams that come from all different levels across the spectrum. My guy Kevin Gonzalez was in the pipes for El Farolito. He's a goalkeeper. I've followed him playing in Nisa. I've followed him playing actually all over Nisa. He started off with Oakland Roots. And so it's just one of those experiences watching this matchup where there's so much it's like it's like an octopus tangled up here with just all these different storylines going on, and it's all interesting. It's all good. I felt like the broadcast was good. Not as big of a crowd, obviously, as the match you're about to talk about.
Yeah.
But they did have close to 1,000 people there,
Mhm.
which is typically pretty good, particularly when you got basically opposite ends of the coast here, from North Carolina all the way over to California, the Bay Area. That is, you're not going to get a ton of fans, but there were some fans that made the drive, or probably flight, now that I think about
Probably at this point.
that. Probably more of a flight. But to come see this match, and I thought it was great. It was good soccer. It was interesting soccer. There's lots of good storylines, and you know what? Congratulations to Hickory FC on an NPSL championship and only their second year. Very, very impressive.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of competition for things to do in San Francisco over the weekend. The Grateful Dead were in town,
Mm-hmm.
and so I heard that there was some congestion with traffic and at the airport as well. And El Farolito were looking for back-to-back NPSL
Mm-hmm.
wins. They had won the championship last year, as you alluded to. So this was the first time they had a chance to defend that championship in their stadium. Disappointing loss for them. I do want to note the performance of Denbor Benson. He had contributed to that championship stretch last year, as well as their dream run in the U.S. Open Cup, Dan. And then he was picked up and signed to a professional contract by Central Valley Fuego of USL League One last year. That team unfortunately folded, and Benson became available to play for El Farolito again. So his contributions were not
I think he had a goal. I think he had a goal and assist in this one.
He's a fantastic player. Yeah. And the thing about a game like this that highlights that talent is between now and the end of the year, somebody else is going to give him a run. Someone's going to sign him, and I just kind of love to see those players get that opportunity. We had another final, as you mentioned, the USL League Two final, Vermont Green versus Ballard FC. Ballard FC were the 2023 USL League Two champions, so they had a chance to also get their second. They came up a little bit short in this one, Dan, but not for lack of effort. Before I get into this, though, I shared on the running order the Bernie Tifo painted by the Vermont Green supporters, and I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on the Bernie Bayou and and sort of, that Bernie is actually getting out to these games as well. I mean, he isn't just a figurehead, but he's somebody that appreciates the home team.
I think that Bernie is all things Vermont, and Vermont Green is all things Vermont. So I think it's a match made in Vermont. I've talked to Patrick Inferna, who's part of their ownership group and has helped sort of guide this club through its meteoric rise, both in the league and winning a championship, but also, sorry to bury the lead there, but also the into the public conversation, into the sort of the awareness of soccer fans in the United States. And he talked about the connection with Bernie, inviting him out, getting him, to the matches. Bernie loves a crowd. He loves being around people. It's what he's done. It's how he's very much a populist and likes being around people. So it makes sense. I thought the Tifo was great. We love to see it. I've voted for Bernie a couple of times, so I'm a big fan of his, but I think it's cool. Regardless of your politics, it's cool to see a connection between sort of a local cult hero who happens to also be their senator, and then also this team that's sort of becoming cult heroes of their own, winning championships and winning the hearts and minds of Vermont.
Yeah. So it was great to see that. The turnout was fantastic as well. The playoffs this year in general were fantastic. Tons of really great teams like Lionsbridge, Louisiana Crew, some names you might recognize from other leagues as well. Western Mass Pioneers, MPLS City, FC Motown, Little Rock Rangers, Des Moines Menace, Fort Wayne, who are also going up to League One soon, FC Tucson, who came down from League One. It's a really unique situation they have with USL. I think that the future is really bright for the interconnectedness of the league system. And some of these teams that maybe have outgrown the formats or the league structures of some of these other national amateur leagues find themselves in League Two and thriving. Virtue Field in Burlington, Vermont was sold out. And after playing host to University of Vermont's recent NCAA championship, it saw Vermont Green capture their first League Two title. Let's see. I had the pleasure of attending a Ballard FC U.S. Open Cup match during their preseason buildup. And I had great conversations with members of their front office. Everything they do is intentional, thought out, is part of a long-term plan. They'll be back at this stage again. And while their season ended, they did send a complimentary social media post to Vermont Green, basically saying about them what I just said about Ballard. Vermont and Ballard are both the kinds of teams I think that we need to see corporate investment in and move up to League One. Great fans, great community support, and they're involved in interested owners. I think that all around Vermont is a very worthy champion of the league.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. I think that there were a lot of people rooting for this. I think that, we've interacted as an organization with Ballard quite a bit. But I would say we've interacted with Vermont quite a bit as well. So I don't think that, while we had no horse in the race, we were happy that either of these horses were here and they delivered an amazing match. And you couldn't ask for a better setting. The photos that came out of it,
beautiful.
You
wanted to be there.
Yeah. And that's if you're USL League Two, you should have, a YouTube video that comes out at the, before the next season to promote this kind of stuff, because This is exactly what draws fans to the sport. It's the kind of excitement you get in the stands, almost like no other sport. And I really feel that USL League Two and all of the rest of these amateur leagues should really lean into this and helping create excitement and buzz around the amateur game. But good on Vermont. Congratulations to Patrick and crew. Obviously, there's been a whole lot of hard work on the part of both of these front offices to deliver success and deliver it early. Obviously, Ballard won the championship last season. Now this year it's Vermont Green. But if you're USL League Two, you've got to feel good about your future with 6,000 fans, standing room only, people outside of chain link fences trying to see the matches from outside. I mean, everything that you could want from a visual perspective. This is it. The buzz that was going on social media during this. I logged in to watch that match. There were 10,000 people streaming that match.
Yeah,
that's just unheard of in the
just
amateur game.
Yeah,
you just don't see that kind of thing very often. And so when you do, it's you got lightning in a bottle. You gotta don't bottle it. Let it out.
Hey Dan, we got one more national amateur championship. Now we have go back and give our we didn't watch the League 4 clubs final. I think that was 2 weeks ago. So we'll have to catch up on that, get some data, maybe talk about
maybe we got the next episode.
Yeah, but we got the UPSL final coming up this coming weekend. You got 4 worthy teams that are all headed the way they do that there, where they all sort of go to one stadium for a weekend. So we'll track that one. We'll talk about that next week. But yeah, this amateur season, it's all coming down to it. We've got national champions in the major amateur leagues.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But with all that good stuff, now we're about to head into the cold night of the amateur soccer off season. And while there may be some pro leagues that will linger for a couple of months, the reality is that for the most part, soccer will shutter across the United States. And I think that's a bummer. It bums me out when that happens because it feels like, and John Howard Fusco and I, if you listen to the W Show, our podcast about the W League, we talked about how it feels like a sprint every season. It goes so fast and it's absolutely frustrating. Yeah. Just gone. It's this. Everything ramps up and ramps down, and it feels like, as quickly as you were unpacking, you're packing up. It's frustrating. I was thinking about this, Josh, sort of the pluses and minuses of this system and how it works. I really think that one of the things that I hate about it is how so many of these clubs will basically shut up shop entirely. No more social media posts, no more excitement driving, no more community building or community connecting. And in fact, should you email or DMs these clubs, some of them don't even respond.
Some of their web shops are closed down. They don't even keep the link up. I mean, they really do. You end up not knowing if the club that you're trying to reach out to ends up one of these. You just don't know until and then all of a sudden it's a cold start in March. And you're like, oh, such and such is still alive.
Nice to see you back. I didn't know. No, it's frustrating. And aside from the lack of soccer to watch, and don't worry, I've got the USL Super League. I'll be very busy with that throughout the off season for these amateur clubs. It's a challenge. And there are some that don't do that. The UPSL is sort of the big national club when it comes to maintaining operations during the fall/winter. They continue to grind. They have a second season. So basically they operate on a split season throughout a year. Let me correct that. They offer a split year with 2 different seasons. That's how I should say that better, because it isn't a split season. One does not impact the other, but it sort of allows teams who want to be involved, if they have the climate or if they have the ability to field a team in a time when it might be less advantageous time of the year, they allow it. So shout out to the UPSL for keeping it up. But there's a lot of regionals that do it too, right?
Yeah, so there are some regional and city leagues that are often still running deep into autumn, or even they restart with the winter season. Some examples are San Francisco Soccer Football League, which has been in continuous operation since like 1922 or something like that. I'll have to double check the Wikipedia. But then there's a league in Chicago, and then the Cosmo League. They all claim to be the oldest or the longest running, so it's a tie. Um, New York Cosmo League, as I mentioned, is similar. There's games on the schedule through August, then the playoffs start. Then the historic Greater Portland Soccer District in Portland, Oregon, has teams who had participated in the Open Cup in the past. They get underway. They don't even start till it's blustery and cold in Portland. Same in Seattle with their Seattle League there. So as you said, we get the start of the USL Super League, which I know we had just mentioned last episode. I'm really looking forward to seeing the addition of the one new team,
Mhm.
right? This time round. I'm really interested to see the shakeout of the players who have moved around,
Yeah.
especially Ekich. I think she's a fabulous footballer. I really look forward to what she brings to Lexington. And then to me, our favorite offseason distraction, Dan Vaughn, one that's so fantastic that we have a separate podcast dedicated to it. Indoor season, off the wall. Let's get hyped. We're like a month away. We're like I think we're 6 weeks away from MASL, and we'll have some major indoor MILS. Anyway, we will know for sure in 6 weeks. But they did some league restructuring. They adopted in some other lower leagues into what they have, maybe
Mhm.
introducing pro rel in indoor soccer. So stuff to
Why
get into.
not? Yeah, no, if you have not watched arena soccer and what happens and how fast that game is, I would suggest you take a look at it. They're really big about broadcasting their matches on YouTube. So there's a lot of opportunity to catch those matches. And yeah, Josh said it. We have our own podcast dedicated to that, Off the Wall. It's a fun, quick dip into that season during the off season to keep your feet warm, with it when it gets nice and chilly outside. You still got some soccer going on inside.
Yes, sir.
It's good times. Absolutely. There you go. Topic number 3, the rise of the lower leagues versus Division One fatigue. Very
Mm.
proud of myself writing league and fatigue. I was very proud of myself. Yeah, so this all comes out of an article by Alex Silverman that I spotted online from Sports Business Journal. I want to give him credit for that. I've got some quotes in here from him, but I thought that was interesting. But basically, he talked about how the congestion of the schedule this summer with the addition of the Club World Cup in the United States really looks like it took a beating, or excuse me, took it to the other professional leagues that were going on in the United States, and they took a beating when it came to their attendance. But I'll read a quote. This is it seems that the flux of international competitions this summer had a deleterious effect on MLS attendance. In June, when the bulk of Club World Cup and Gold Cup matches took place, MLS averaged 20,000 fans per game, the lowest figure for that month since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So it is it seems I think that as a lower league soccer guy, I am oftentimes rooting against MLS, and mostly because I don't appreciate their business model, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they have necessarily the best interests of soccer in mind. On the other hand, they're the Division One of this in the United States, and we
For
do
now.
want it to shine. We do want it to be successful. I think, at least from a overall perspective, a holistic point of view. We want
Mm-hmm.
soccer to succeed, and it's part of that. Interestingly enough, and again, I'll quote Alex here. USL is experiencing increased attendance in both of its men's professional leagues this season, with championship attendance up 5.2%, with 5,382 per match, and League One attendance up 17% to 2,700 per match from the comparable point last season. While those leagues have benefited from additions of high-performing teams and newly opened stadiums, their presence in smaller markets may have shielded them from the competitive pressure that MLS experienced this summer. What say you, Josh? You follow those leagues.
Yeah, I love those leagues, and I think that I think that last point is probably the one that's most on point. Living near in the Pacific Northwest, I live closest to Portland, quite a ways away from Seattle. Some friends of mine had thought about taking a drive up to Seattle to go watch the Urawa Reds take on like River Plate. I mean, what are your opportunities in this world to go see a team from Japan play against a team from Argentina in a competitive, meaningful match? The Club World Cup was intended to be meaningful, not just a summer friendly series. And these summer friendly series have always been here, but finally there was like, I don't know how much money was behind it. 90 million or something was the total take.
Yeah.
There was intent. The thing is, our USL teams were included in that, right? So our players weren't pulled away from that. Maybe some of us who watch USL also have favorite Premier teams, or we might have favorite Bundesliga teams or whoever might have been present, but we're still going to go to our game that's right down the street. And I think that's the advantage of those local markets. If you take a look at Portland Hearts of Pine, a brand new team in USL League One, they're rocking, man. They are getting that full 2,500 per match. They look great. They're doing everything right, and there's several teams like that in that division that are doing great. Oakland Roots, they moved over to the famous Oakland Coliseum this year. That's a 60,000 seater, Dan. You're not going to sell that out, but they're getting 20,000.
Yeah.
On their home opener with with Too Short singing at halftime. So, there were some good moments for USL. Major League Soccer took a hit probably because they are in those major metropolitan areas, and those fans are doing a dual service.
Yeah, it is an interesting discussion. I wonder if ticket prices play a role. Maybe if you're spending already for something, a Leagues Cup match, maybe you don't want to spend the money when it comes to an MLS fee. I don't know. I know that they highlighted I know that Dallas has part of their stadium closed right now, and that might be playing a role here. I think there's a lot of stuff on the table. I think it's interesting. I think if you USL, you feel good about it because in the end, your team is the one in the plus side. That's what you need, right? Yeah. And if you've got positive numbers in a time when a lot of people are struggling to make ends meet, but they're still managed to come to your matches, it shows some fandom. I think that USL has always struggled when they compete one-to-one to MLS. So when MLS comes to a market and there's a USL squad, so far we've seen those teams die. I think that we're going to have to see as Soccer Wars progress. Are we going to see some of those USL teams survive? As we expand into the Premier, like what's going to happen then? How are they going to compete? So I think there's a lot going on there. I think it's interesting. And I thought it was an excellent article. Shout out to Alex Silverman. I thought it was good writing and certainly something that if you're interested in, you should check it out at sportsbusinessjournal.com. That article was there. It's not paywalled. And I appreciate that as a guy that doesn't.
That's a plus.
That is a plus. Protagonistsoccer.com, never paywalled so far.
You might have bills to pay.
Don't tempt me. Well, what are we watching this week? I picked a match that's taking place tomorrow at the time of recording. You might be watching this after that. I understand. Tigres versus LAFC. I love it anytime we get a Liga MX matchup against a MLS matchup. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. I think this has always been the kind of rivalry that draws attention whenever we get, again, a top-tier MLS side against the Liga MX side. I can't help but root for the MLS side. I always tend to root against Liga MX. But LAFC, I think this is interesting. Obviously, if you know about the culture in LA, it's obviously heavily dominated by the Latino soccer fan when it comes to the sport. And Liga MX is the most watched league in the United States. That means there's lots of Liga MX fans that might be living in LA. And I kind of I love this idea of this sort of, how are you split? Are you split in your loyalty? These are fun matches for me. I might not watch a lot of MLS. I might not watch a lot of Leagues Cup. I do enjoy a matchup between Liga MX and MLS.
That looks super interesting, actually. The only downside to this competition, well, there's a couple of downsides of the competition. I think there's three CONCACAF Champions League or Cup. I'm not sure what they call it nowadays. Anyway, I think there's three positions to get into the CONCACAF Champions League that can be won from this competition, which excludes teams outside of Major League Soccer and Liga MX. And let's not forget, Liga MX recently killed off ProRel. So even fewer teams have access to the Champions League because of this competition. I think there are some great teams from Liga MX that do come up to the United States, but let's also not forget, none of these matches are played in their hometowns down in Mexico. So they don't get immediate revenue from the turnstiles. I think they get a shared revenue from the host teams here in the United States. So those are some interesting facts. I do know MLS teams are doing well because they're mid-season. I think this is off-season for most Liga MX teams. So those are just the interesting changes in fortune, because I think at the beginning of our calendar year, Liga MX is sort of in their full swing, and they tend to dominate Open Cup competitions with MLS teams. So you sort of see that switch, in fortune and timing on these competitions. And really, there's always a good side and a bad side to everything, Dan. For me, we've kind of talked about the good side and the bad side of Chattanooga soccer teams. There's a completely revitalized Chattanooga Red Wolves, who they sit second in the table of USL League One, and they have 3 games in 10 days. Their pursuit of all 9 points and overtaking Spokane for top of the table starts on Wednesday. So it's a couple days from as we record. As we never know when people are going to watch this. And they're going to start at home against Forward Madison. The Mingos are sitting in 10th outside of the playoffs and desperately need points to position themselves for a postseason run.
Love it. Yeah, agreed. Chattanooga Red Wolves are the bad boys of Chattanooga soccer, which is funny in its own way. But yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, they've got suddenly competitive all of a sudden. They I know that for a while they were not as competitive, and so we're starting to see sort of a resurgence here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, what's next, Josh. Are you prepared for this?
I'm going to do my very best.
I believe in you. Everyone believes in you. We know that you can do it. Are you ready?
Let me see if I can get my notes.
It's time to go off topic.
Yes.
Do it.
USL League One kicked off 7 years ago and had, at the time, many in our circle of lower league soccer were skeptical, and some were downright dismissive of how it would fit into soccer landscape. Spokane Velocity versus Union Omaha was a great replay this week of last year's championship. It's a vibrant and interesting league, and I totally missed my notes, so I'm not going to hit this one. I think I write too much, and I expect too much of myself to hit it. I'm so bad at this, and I invented this idea.
You did. You came up with this idea. This was your idea. I believe in you, Josh.
It was there.
You're going to get it. It's going to take time. You're going to get it. All right. Well, I'll take my shot at it. If I bomb, you can feel better about yourself.
Man.
If you've been watching any outlet right now, you're seeing what's going on in the WNBA, where fans, quote unquote fans, are throwing sex toys onto the field of play, and they're getting a lot of coverage for it. It's becoming a big deal. I just want to say, with trolls, if you feed them, they will continue to grow. Starve them, and they will die off. Stop talking about this non-story and focus on the game. That's what I'm saying. Is that how it's done, Josh?
Perfect. You nailed it. And I think it's vibes. I think vibes is the trick. Yeah,
because I didn't write anything. You see that?
No.
Didn't write anything. Yeah. I will say this about I think that I know that it's not soccer related, but troll culture is a big thing in soccer as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Just, man, time to stop giving these people your time. It's not worth it.
The hardest thing in the world is retraining yourself on social media to just simply not reply. You might think you have something clever to say, and you might have both thumbs on that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
It's not worth it.
Don't.
Let it die.
Yeah.
Joshua Duder, I know that you're unhappy with your performance, but don't let 30 seconds overshadow 35 minutes worth of work. You did a fantastic job today. You brought your A game as always. Maybe you had a stumble. You got back up. You finished off. It is what it is, my man. There's always next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll be inspired and just write down in my little in the run vibes only.
Vibes only. Listen, I think you're a very intelligent man. I don't want you to get caught up in overthinking it.
Oh, I'm fine, Dan. I do want to give a mention that on our social media platform about a week ago, we had said, hey, let's give away some coffee. There were some replies. That was great. I'm not ready for that today. I'm going to put all of those in a randomizer app so that I could spin my little app and make my little ticking sounds and a little, and so we can give that away. But I want to do it right. I don't want to just pull a name out of a hat. I want it to be completely random. So we'll do that next episode.
Sounds great. By the way, that coffee giveaway is sponsored by Kickoff Coffee. If you enjoy good coffee and soccer culture,
That's right.
And if you enjoyed this show, you want to follow us, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a rating, share us with your friends, family, your community. We appreciate that. If you want to financially support what we do, patreon.com/protagonist soccer. It's a way to support us. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your listen. Thank you so much. We're out and we'll be back next week. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.